What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you how mother wounds impact your relationships. Now, throughout this episode, I'm going to be breaking down 7 different ways in which mother wounds can greatly affect your life if you do not heal these wounds. And the mother wound is something that I turned my head to for a long time because I was so focused on healing my father wounds, because the father wounds to me were very obvious. The abuse that I experienced in my childhood from the anger and the aggression of my father, I knew that I needed to heal. But when it came to my mother wounds, as amazing as a mother as she was, I didn't realize that I was still carrying this pain in my body from my childhood and the trauma in my childhood. But as I started to heal these mother wounds, everything in my life began to change. So if you feel like in this moment that you might be carrying resentment towards your mother or some type of mother wound, then this podcast is going to be for you. Now, before I get into this, I have something really exciting to share with you. On March 7th, I'm doing another relationships workshop with Melissa. This is a question and answer style workshop where we will be answering your questions live. So if you would like to learn the art of conscious relationships, sexual intimacy, masculine and feminine energies, and how sexual polarity is working in your relationship, go to jakewoodard.com/relationships to sign up today. I will tell you that the early bird pricing is going to go up soon, and also space is limited. We're only letting a limited amount of people into this event. So go ahead and click the link in the show notes or my bio below to register today. Let's get into this because I'm really excited to talk about mother wounds. And as weird as that sounds, because I also feel that this is really going to help you a lot to transcend this type of pain that you may be carrying in this moment. So I can already feel right now the energy coming down through and the vibration of love, which is a connection to the Divine Mother. And many of us have been disconnected from the Divine Mother. We're disconnected from our divine feminine energy. And to me, the representation of the mother and the father is a representation of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. That's how we are created as one being. When we come into this plane of existence, we are born out of the divine masculine and divine feminine. And those two energies merging together, we are created. Life force is created. Now, myself, for a very long time, I was disconnected from my inner feminine. So the first thing that I have here is you feel discomfort around speaking your truth. In this moment right now, I want you just to tune into your energy field and ask yourself the question, do I feel safe speaking my truth? And your truth is not your anger, is not your ego projections. Your truth is rooted in love. And it's very difficult to find your truth because I didn't have my truth for a very long time because my throat chakra was blocked. I was so afraid to speak, I had a stutter. I was that fat kid with a stutter who would run out of the classroom when I would get called on by teachers to read out loud because I didn't want to read in front of people. I didn't want people to hear my voice because I was so repressed at home, which I was really modeling my mother's repression from my father. I watched my mother get severely repressed by my father, and I started absorbing that energy in my body, that fear around speaking my truth and speaking my truth with love. So as I started to, quote unquote, speak my truth, it was more about with anger and the ego. It wasn't really my truth because truth is not your ego. Okay, although your ego is really convinced that this is right, this is true, I'm separate from you. When you have mother wounds, you'll be very afraid to speak your truth because our mothers, the divine mother as a whole, and each and individual mothers, which is all one of the whole, right? We have been deeply repressed, and our inner feminine has been stuffed down in the expression parts of ourselves, which is also tied into your sacral chakra, has been deeply repressed within us. So we're not able to fully communicate and speak our truth. Now, a little tip here, a little healing tip. If you do have struggles speaking your truth, you have to practice. People ask me now, they're like, how do you get good at speaking on camera? practice. I've spent thousands of hours speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking, going to classes, speaking more, practicing my speaking. And also when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel triggered, I don't shut down. I don't blow up with anger anymore, especially in the container of the relationship with my partner, Melissa. I do not do that anymore. I've transcended that unconscious parts of myself where name calling or blowing up or yelling, because those things are still the pain body that is active, the emotional pain that's just lodged within you. You're repressed, so you're acting on that pain, which is really your ego projecting outward. So how we speak our truth is by first giving ourselves permission. Say the words right now with me out loud. I give myself permission to speak my truth with love and clarity. I give myself permission to speak my truth with love and clarity. So if you struggle with this one and you want to communicate more efficiently, more effectively, ground yourself, be anchored in your light, stand strong, stand with the presence of love, be rooted, and speak intentionally. Don't speak from your anger. Don't speak from, whatever you're feeling, allowing your emotions to carry you away in that moment, because that's not your truth. And sometimes you will speak from your pain, but it's really important to bring that back down into your body and filter it through your heart and ask yourself, is this my truth? Number 2, you struggle to set healthy boundaries, which really these two go hand in hand because you're not willing to speak your truth. You also allow people into your energy field that don't serve you. Maybe you have multiple sexual partners that you don't really care about, and you're just allowing them to take your energy, steal your energy, rob your energy, and you're exchanging these energies with these lower vibrational people, which is hard for some people to hear. That's hard for some people to hear. And I know that I didn't want to hear that years ago because the ego just wants to have sex with whoever, right? It doesn't realize that sex is a sacred exchange of energies. And when we engage sexually with somebody, and I could talk a lot more about this, when we engage sexually with somebody, we're literally transferring our energies from each other. It's not just a physical interaction. There's so much more going on there. So what I've learned in working with a lot of different women and what I've seen a pattern of is they think that sex is the only thing that they can offer to a man. So they'll just give themselves away sexually, but then often they're feeling so depleted because that man didn't really care about them and they didn't really care about that man. So they just gave away their energy and allowed that man inside of them. Next thing you know, they're not honoring their energetic field and their aura starts to become dim. And this can happen with men as well. And this is why I really invite you to have sex with people who you really care about, who you really deeply care about, because sex is such a powerful exchange of energies. And here's another thing, just going beyond sex, hang out with people that you really care about. Don't just hang around people because you're bored or lonely, because those people are coming into your energy field and they're probably just taking whatever they can get away from you. Because if you're listening to this podcast, I know that you are of the light and I know that you also embody your shadows, and that's why you're here in this moment. So hang around people that are truly serving you and you are truly serving. And in the dynamic of a romantic relationship, are you with this person because of your fear of going broke or not being able to make it financially, of your fear of being lonely, of your fear of never finding love again? And your ego, which I know I've done a lot, makes all these excuses to stay in this relationship because you're not really willing to speak your truth and honor your boundaries. When you learn to honor your boundaries in a conscious container of a relationship, you serve that relationship so much and you grow together, because in a conscious relationship, you can do so much healing and experience so much healing in that container. But if you're not willing to speak your truth and set boundaries saying, hey, this doesn't resonate with me, please do not do that again. Or this doesn't serve me. I need you to honor my space. When someone's triggering you, do not be afraid. Well, you can be afraid, but still do it. Set the boundary with them. Land that boundary. Listen, this doesn't resonate with me right now. I need you to give me some space. I need you to honor my space. And you express that to them. And it's very difficult at first, especially setting boundaries with people who you've never set boundaries with before. And once again, tying this back into the mother wound, our mothers often had very weak boundaries because they were, normally repressed by our fathers, and they didn't know how to set boundaries. I know my mother, one of the deep ones that I had, she was so afraid of my dad. She lived in this fear. So I absorbed her boundaries and my dad's repressive roar energy like an angry grizzly bear. And that was scary growing up. It was very scary. So I had weak boundaries myself for a very long time. And speaking your truth is very uncomfortable, but I invite you to lean into that discomfort when you feel called to speak your truth and set a boundary. Number 3, you carry shame and guilt. These two are really big for the mother wound. And here's why. Because shame and guilt has been deeply imprinted within the feminine energy, the repression of the feminine energy. Because it's looked at as weak or less than. The emotional body, the intuitive body, all of this stuff, even our psychic abilities is of being able to connect to our inner feminine. Because when we are disconnected from these parts of ourselves, we're not fully integrating with the human experience, okay? We often get trapped in this masculine grid of financial success and building things and achieving and being active. But we miss out on the intuitive, loving, feeling, sensational parts of ourselves. And all human beings, regardless of your gender, have both masculine and feminine energies within your body. Okay? You are created of the divine masculine, divine feminine energies, and you were brought into this plane of existence through these energies, manifesting as the one, from the one. So, shame and guilt are really big. We've been shamed around our sexuality. We've been shamed around having feelings. We've been shamed around being too emotional or too much. How many times in your life have you heard those things? Stop crying. You're too much. You're too crazy. You're too emotional. And you get constantly shamed and guilted and use that as a way to manipulate you because it's looked at as weak. When you see someone crying, you think something's wrong with them. You think something's bad, right? But crying is a beautiful form of release. And we've had our emotional body deeply repressed. So a lot of people are just numbed right out from the many different programming and the foods that we consume and the airs we breathe and the waters we drink and the toxic thoughts and the trauma that lives in our body. There's a lot of different stuff to this, not just energetic. There's also physical components to this as well, to the numbing process. But the matrix is designed to keep you in a state of fear and unconsciousness. So as you really start to awaken and you start to see the matrix, then you can start to transcend the matrix. But the way in which we get out of the matrix is by going into our emotions and our pain. And we have to do that by going in and connecting to our inner feminine and realizing the beautiful, divine, loving aspects of ourselves and stop shaming ourselves for those parts. And here's the thing too that's coming through right now. For any of the masculine people listening to this right now, if you want to be able to connect with a feminine person, you have to first be integrated with your own inner feminine, or you will show up in the relationship, say for the example of a man and a woman, or it could be a man and a man or a woman and a woman, with a masculine and feminine, masculine man, feminine woman. You say, here's the example. If you're not integrated with your inner feminine, how could you possibly connect to hers? You won't understand it. You will not understand it. By going inward and connecting to your inner feminine, you can deeply understand the feminine, your own feminine, and then she will reflect back to you the connection that you have with that feminine essence. Number 4, you tend to be a people pleaser. Which, once again, ties right into number 3 because of the shame and guilt that you carry in your body, especially guilt that's been used against you to manipulate you. You want to make everyone around you all happy. Everyone around you all good and happy. Meanwhile, you feel empty inside. And once again, going back into the mother wound, this is something that we learned from our mothers to take care of everyone else. A funny example that's coming through right now, every single night, I would watch, and this isn't a funny example because now I would say this isn't acceptable. I would watch my mother get everyone else's dinner ready for all of us. And then she would sit down last. And we'd always be like, come on, Mom, come sit down, come eat with us. We don't want your food to be cold. And I see so many moms that do that still to this day. They're taking care of everyone but themselves. It's like they don't even know how to receive. And of the feminine energy is the receiving energy. So if you put everyone in front of you and you never take care of yourself, you're always going to be running out of oxygen. You're always going to be thirsty for life force. And you'll never really feel that loving energy being reciprocated back to you if you don't allow yourself to receive, because you're always in this masculine give, take care of, provide, structure, protect, lead. I mean, those things are necessary. But the thing is, if you're a feminine core person listening to this right now, and you're not allowing yourself to receive, and you're so busy taking care of everyone else because you're a people pleaser, you are going to feel rigid. You are going to feel drained. You are going to feel tired. You are going to feel exhausted. So give yourself permission to receive. Allow yourself to receive the vibrational essence of love that is flowing through your body in this moment. And if you find yourself being a people pleaser, you really got to ask yourself, what is the root of this? Is this because I'm afraid that people will reject me? They will no longer validate me or approve me? Here's the thing. Me personally, I don't like when someone tries to people please me. I'll call them right on it and be like, hey, I don't need to be people pleased. I don't need to be people pleased. That's a really big tongue twister. You ever say words like that before where it's just like your mouth gets all jumbled up? It's like you got a bunch of gunk in your mouth. But seriously, I don't need you to be a people pleaser. I'm inviting you in this moment, if you have a people-pleasing nature, to start to let that go and start allowing yourself to receive. Now, I'm not saying that you just stop taking care of other people, because I know you are. I know you're of the light. You want to help others. You want to take care of others. But the thing is, if you're not fueled and being fed yourself, you'll always feel empty and you'll always feel like something is missing. So yes, continue to nourish and give back to life and everything, but allow yourself to also receive as well. When someone compliments you, you don't need to play ping pong, go back and forth and say, no, you're so beautiful. Oh, thank you. All right, I'm being a little dramatic here. Number 5, you attract emotionally unavailable partners. Now, if we grew up with a mother who wasn't consciously integrated with her feminine energy and connected to her emotions, then we often weren't taught how to have a healthy relationship with our emotions, how to process our emotions, how to not be so angry and violent or, sad or shameful. We're never taught emotional intelligence, you could call it, because of the disconnect to the feminine energy. So that will often manifest us people in our lives that reflect back our own disconnect to our emotions and our pain. So think about this. I want you to feel into this moment. Imagine yourself like a radio station. You're calling in people that are tuned into the same frequency. So if you're not integrated with your emotions or your feminine energy, you're going to attract people that are also not integrated with their emotions and their feminine energy. So you'll be like, why am I attracting these emotionally available people? Why do I keep getting ghosted? Why do people not seem to have any depth with me? But instead of pointing the finger, which the ego wants to do, and blame the external world, take a look inward and ask yourself, why am I attracting these people? What wound in myself is still manifesting these people to me that are emotionally unavailable? Are you the one that is emotionally unavailable and you're calling people to you that are just reflecting that back to you? Number 6, you become easily attached and codependent. Now, when we have the deeper mother wounds and we saw our mothers, remember, this is all about the modeling, because as little kids and infants, when we didn't get the love that we needed and we didn't get the support that we needed, we often model our parents. We look at them as heroes. So maybe if we had a parent that wasn't there or was smothering, there's all different types of situations. But the one that's really big for the mother wound as well is the attachment. So anything that you feel like might give you a sense of love or validation, you quickly attach to that. And when that person, it's normally a romantic relationship, starts to pull back, you start to become very depressed. People with deep mother wounds will often do this. In the palm of my hand right now, I have my entire happiness, all my love, everything in this hand right now. Here you go. Take it away from me. I don't need it. You just hold on to that. And I'm going to trust you with that in this moment and for the rest of my life. So for you to always make me happy. But here's the thing. It's not your job to make me happy. It's not your job to make me happy. So if I give you that responsibility to make me happy, that's a heavy load to carry. That is a heavy load to carry. So if you find yourself becoming easily attached or codependent, just start continuing to love and validate yourself. And the more that you love and accept and validate yourself from within, the more that others will reflect that back to you. And you'll attract people to you that want to be conscious with you, that want to go deep, that want to have a loving relationship with you, whether it's friendship or romance or family. The more you raise your vibrational energy, the vibrational consciousness, and you expand that, you attract people into your energetic field that also are expanding. Number 7, you feel emotionally unsafe and unsupported. Now, a lot of times we have this blockage in our root chakra. At the base of our spine is the energy center of the root chakra, which is the feeling of safety, security, and survival. And because our mother often felt very unsafe in our childhood growing up, we adopted that same blockage because we were looking at mommy and we were looking at daddy if they were there, and whatever caregiver you had, it got stored in our body because that's how we learned. We learned from our parent. We learned from the people that we love and we look up to. So if you have this energetic blockage and not feeling safe, not feeling secure, you will often manifest experiences in your life and relationships that will make you feel more insecure, unsafe, uncertain about yourself. So this is something I dealt a lot with. I felt very threatened and unsafe because the home that I broke up, that was what I was going to say. The home that I grew up in, I grew up with a broken root chakra because the root chakra is a representation of your home. And when this energy center is shattered because of the unstable home that you grew up in, it can be very, very hard to feel safe in your body. It can be very hard to feel safe at all. You feel insecure, you feel uncertain, you're always questioning everything, you're always rigid and tense, you're always guarded with your masculine shield, and you're never really allowing people to come into your space because you feel closed down, you feel unsafe, and you don't feel open. Openness to the universe doesn't mean allowing just everyone just to come into your life. No, it means that you have healthy boundaries, but you're also really open and you're using discernment and your intuition to be able to better understand and navigate who is going to serve you in this human experience and who you're going to serve as well. So as you allow yourself to let down this guard and heal your root chakra by giving yourself permission to feel safe and secure in your body, you start to reconnect to your inner feminine, feeling safe and supported by your divine masculine, and it all starts to blend and integrate together. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope that it brought you a ton of value. Once again, if you want to register for my next workshop right now, so you don't forget, go to jakewoodard.com/relationships to register today before spaces sell out and the early bird pricing goes up. Once again, thank you for watching this. I appreciate you and I love you. If this brought you value, take a screenshot of it right now and share it to your Instagram story and tag me. As always, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.